bounce. So now we're up to skin. So if you have issues like me where you've got, see, I've covered it quite well on that side, but yeah, where you have quite an accentuated bag, there's lots of ways to do it. So you want to get a concealer that's a few shades darker than your own skin. In this instance, I'm quite fair. I'm probably one of the lightest colours, and then I'm going to quite an orange base. This is a MAC Select concealer, so it's quite matte. Normally you wouldn't put matte things under the eye, but for me, nothing seems to sit as well as this. So as you can see, that's quite orange. But what that's doing, the orange is going to contrast the blue kind of purple tones that the bag gives off. So obviously you wouldn't wear that just by itself. You pop that on first, and then you get a lighter colour to go over the top. So this is another really good concealer. That's a MAC Studio Finish. I'm just going to pop that over like that. And then now we're ready for foundation. So I'm using a flat foundation brush. This is one from my makeup school. It's a bit old, but yeah, MAC do some really good ones. Most professional brands, you'll find good foundation brushes. I prefer the flat rounded ones. If you're working with something a little bit more dewy, you can use a duo fibre for your foundation. That one's a really good one. But in this instance, I'm using the new MAC foundation called a Matchmaker. Well, actually, it's the Match Master. But yeah, so it's a new formula that they've brought out, and so you can see it's a little bit lighter than my skin. But what it does is it's got particles in it that you can see through, so it reflects your natural skin colour underneath. I really like it because I don't normally wear much foundation at all, so it's quite natural because you're still seeing your natural skin underneath. I'm not covering all my freckles, and you know, it still looks like your own skin, but just a little bit more flawless. So usually when you're doing your foundation, you start in the centre, in your T-zone, because that's where you really want the most coverage. Always remember to continue it down the neck, depending on how good the match is, or if you've got a tan. Some girls have very different tones from their face to their chest, so you want to match whatever is down here up here. So bring it up, but as you can see, I'm very pale and I'm pale all over, so I'm kind of all one tone, so it's pretty easy for me. So I like to use, and this is really good for people with oily skin as well, the MAC Prep and Prime translucent powder. Any translucent powder will do, but what translucent powder is very light. It's very refined. As you can see, it's it kind of turns into nothing. So that's really good to set your foundation if you don't want that heavy powder look. So just a light brush of that. So that will just set your foundation so that when you touch it, it doesn't come off as much. So I really like that dewy, beautiful look. So if you've ever wondered about cream blushes, they're really great if you want that dewy kind of look. Probably not advisable for people with oily skin, but for people with drier skin, they're really beautiful. So I like to use a sponge, and what you want to do is just build it up slowly. You don't want to put too much on straight away, and just blend it in. It's good to do when your foundation's still really fresh, and what it will do is giving me a nice base for my blush, and then I'm setting it pretty much with a powder. So in this instance, I'm using a nice plum. Then you want to contour. So contouring is something where you put darker powder on certain areas of the face to make things look further away. So just there, just from the tragus part of the ear down here, you just lightly put that. This is a mineral powder because I'm quite fair, so I like to use that, but bronzer is usually what you would use. And then under the cheekbone, and this will really define your jaw. Just lightly, and make sure you really blend that in. And then you can even, do your nose, do it up here, just depending on what you want to accentuate and what you want to hide. But again, we're going to do, if you want it to be a bit long wearing, you can do a liquid highlight as well as a base. So again, I'm using my sponge. You can use a Joy Fiber brush as well, foundation brush. And that's just given me a little bit of a liquid highlight. And then my favourite part, this is Soft and Gentle. It's a highlight powder. It's my favourite thing in the whole world. And then I'm popping my Soft and Gentle on top. We go overboard with this at MAC, just because it gives you that beautiful dewy glow. So that's pretty much the face done. So with lips, obviously Vintage has that really bold red lip. So what I would normally do is get a little bit of conditioner, hot that on your lip. You want them to be nice and moist and well looked after, hydrated, because that's going to help it last a lot longer. I'm just using pawpaw cream, and so I've just patted that off so it's not too much, and that way the liner, when I put it on, is going to go on a lot smoother and it's not going to drag. I like to use brick liner, which is a bit of a darker red, because I like a bit of depth to my red. So get your outline and then colour in the entire lip. So yeah, what it does is creates a colour base, gives something for the lipstick to adhere to. So usually after a red, if you wear liner and then a matte red, you're going to have quite a stain anyway, so it's going to stay. This is my favourite red. This is Russian Red by MAC. Yeah, the other famous red from MAC is either MAC Red, which is a satin, or Ruby Woo, which is a really waxy, bright scarlet, and that's very popular. But as I said, Russian's my favourite. So you don't even use that much because you've done lots of liner anyway. So you can leave that matte, as I normally would, or you can, if you want a bit of gloss. This was a limited colour from a collection. So get a bit of gloss, put that in the centre of the lip, and blend it out, because one thing, if you amp on too much gloss and then put it too close to the sides, that's what's going to make your lipstick bleed. So just like that. There we go. So I guess that's about it. I hope that was easy to follow. So this is the typical Vintage look. I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial, and I'll see you next time.
Bounce.